أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أشرف الخلق وسيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا سهلا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم إلى نور الفهم وأكرمنا بمعرفة العلم وزين أخلاقنا بالحلم يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ربنا فك الكرب عن إخواننا المستضعفين في غزة وفي فلسطين. اللهم انصرهم نصرا عزيزا مؤزرا. اللهم انصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم. اللهم عليك بمن ظلمهم واعتدى عليهم وانتهك حرماتهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم عليك بمن طغى في البلاد فأكثر فيها الفساد. اللهم صب عليهم سوط عذاب. اللهم اهزمهم وزلزلهم يا رب العالمين واقذف الرعب في قلوبهم. اللهم ردهم على أعقابهم خائبين خاسئين خزايا نادمين ولا تجعل لهم صرفا ولا نصرا. اللهم أفسد رأيهم. اللهم أفسد رأيهم واجعل تدميرهم في تدبيرهم واجعل الدائرة عليهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم اشف صدور قوم مؤمنين. اللهم اشف صدور قوم مؤمنين. اللهم اشف صدور قوم مؤمنين. اللهم أصلح حال أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها. اللهم ول أمورنا خيارنا ولا تول أمورنا شرارنا ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك ولا يرحمنا. اللهم لا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا. اللهم لا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا. اللهم لا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا إلى النار مصيرنا. اللهم اجعل الجنة هي دارنا وقرارنا مع المقربين الشهود في مقعد صدق عند مليك مقتدر. اللهم اختم لنا بخير أجمعين وألحقنا بالصالحين واجعلنا من ورثة جناتك جنات النعيم يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين آمين. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. أما بعد, today we're going to be continuing with the traveler prayers, Salat al-Musafir. And as we said last time, this is one of the most asked about chapters in Fiqh of Salah. We actually finished most of the traveler prayers, and we have the second section after it, which is the section on combining prayers that we still did not get into. But as a quick recap and a quick review, last time when we were going over Salat al-Musafir, we mentioned a few different issues that need to be clear. First off, the cause of shortening and combining prayers is what? What is the cause? What is the cause? Yes, the cause is travel itself, covering the distance of travel. The wisdom is difficulty, right? The wisdom is difficulty. Difference between cause and wisdom is not consistent. Cause, this is مضطرد. It's a wasf ظاهر منضبط. It's something that is consistent and you could find in all situations. If you pass the distance of travel, you are someone who can shorten your prayers. And that's a rukhsa that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. In the Quran, we said it's tied into a certain context. What is that? إن خفتم أن يفتنكم الذين كفروا. You can shorten your prayers while you're traveling if you are afraid that you will be attacked, ambushed, or under threat by your enemies. But this was speaking to the context during the time of revelation. But it remained as a rukhsa. As the Prophet ﷺ told Sayyidina Umar, he said, صَدَقَةٌ تَصَدَّقَ اللَّهُ بِهَا عَلَيْكُمْ فَاقْبَلُوا صَدَقَةَ. It's a charity from Allah upon you, accept Allah's charity to you. Right? So this is about the ruling of shortening prayers. Now, must I shorten prayers? Or should I shorten prayers? The answer to this question is going to differ based on the madhab. According to the Hanafi school, the answer is you must shorten prayers. You're not allowed to pray a full prayer. According to the others, no, it is a dispensation. It's a rukhsa. It's not something you're required to do. You can pray a full prayer, and you can shorten your prayers too. Which one's better? Well, if it's a far distance, then they say shortening the prayers is better. Shortening, لأن الله سبحانه وتعالى يحب أن تؤتى رخصه كما يحب أن تؤتى عزائمه تؤتى رخصه كما يحب أن تؤتى عزائمه. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves for the person to follow the dispensation. So for this reason, they say, if it's a far distance, then shorten your prayers. Now, of course, as we said, when it comes to travel, we have two subjects to talk about, shortening and combining, right? Shortening and combining. The Hanafi school only allows shortening. They don't allow combining, except in certain situations during Hajj, special circumstances. The others, they shorten, they combine. When we're talking about shortening prayers, we're obviously talking about as-salat ruba'iyah. We're talking about the prayer that has 4 units: Dhuhr, Asr, and Isha. You will not do anything to Maghrib. You will not do anything to Fajr. Fajr is not even in the subject of travel. It stays the same. It's not combined and it's not shortened. Of course, these are basic things about travel. Now, when I shorten and combine, I could pray in the time of the first, Dhuhr or Maghrib, or in the time of the second, Asr or Isha, right? I have the option of doing either without any blame upon me in either situation. If I was to shorten and combine, and my travel was to end before the second prayer even comes in, will I have to redo my prayer? Example, I was traveling at the time of Dhuhr, so I combined my prayers and I shortened them during the time of Dhuhr. Time of Asr comes in at 5 p.m., for example. And I got home at 3 p.m., back home, 2 hours before Asr even comes in. Now when Asr actually comes back in, am I going to have to do it again? Answer, no. I don't have to go do it again because it came in for me as a traveler during the time of Dhuhr. If I took advantage of the rukhsah and the dispensation, that's done. I don't need to do Asr again when it comes in as a resident. If I wanted to do it again to get the reward of Jama'ah, can I redo a fard prayer to get the reward of Jama'ah? I'm back home, it's 3 o'clock, I want to go to the masjid for Asr. Can you do this? No problem. You can redo a fard prayer for a particular reason in any situation, right? So this is no problem at all. Okay. What is the distance of travel? Answer, what do we say? Huh? So 51 miles or more, you're a traveler. 51 miles or more, you're a traveler. It needs to be more than 50 miles. Okay? So, and that's according to the Shafi'i school. We said there's another opinion, Hanafi school. What's the distance? 48 miles. We said there's a third madhab, the Maliki school. It's a madhab, it's one of the respected opinions among the scholars. They have a much shorter one. What did we say? Allahu Akbar. You guys have good memory. 36. Good job. 36 miles. That's according to who? The Maliki school. That's the distance of travel. How long can I shorten my prayers? How long can I shorten my prayers as a traveler? According to the Shafi'i school, 4 days excluding day of arrival, day of departure. Excluding those days, 4 days. Meaning, I got to Cairo on Sunday. I'm not going to count Sunday because it's a day of arrival. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If I'm leaving Friday, then I'm good. If I'm leaving Saturday, no good. Meaning, I can't shorten and combine one. As soon as, if I know I'm going to go to a location, then I'm going to stay more than the maximum distance of, maximum duration of travel, 4 days, besides the day of arrival and departure, then as soon as I get there, I am going to pray the normal prayer. Remember, we said this? Right. We said there's other madhahib. The Maliki school, how many do they say? 20 prayers. They're even shorter than the Shafi'i school. 20 prayers, 4 days. 20 prayers, 4 days. 20 prayers, 20 prayers. Khalas. Even if it's in partial days, 20 prayers, 20 prayers. That's what it is. So, Hanafi school, how long? 15 days. But they don't allow combining. Like we said before, they don't allow combining. So, Hanafi school is for 15 days. Now, if I don't know how long I'm going to stay in a particular location, I could continue to shorten and combine for how long? Until, according to the Shafi'i school and according to the majority, according to them, I could continue to shorten and combine until 17 days. Where did they get 17 days from? This is from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. When he went out to meet the Romans, when he went out to Tabuk, and he waited there, he waited there, and they never showed up. He stayed there, as the hadith says, 17 days. So we take from this, why do we take 17 days? All right, that's how long he stayed. And he continued to shorten and combine. They say that the reason why the Prophet ﷺ did that is because he did not know how long he was going to stay in that location. Why can't I do it more? 18, 19, 20. Why can't I do it more? The scholars, they have this principle. Remember this, because it's going to help us today when we go over combining. الرخص لا يصار إليها إلا بيقين. This is, for someone who's precautious for their ibadah, you cannot implement a dispensation unless you have certainty that the criteria is met for you to do it. Right? So here, we know, what's this yaqeen that we have? The Prophet did 17, that's the maximum. Why can't I suggest for myself some more? Well, because the Prophet ﷺ didn't tell me. The Prophet ﷺ could have easily said, the musafir can continue to shorten and combine for as long as his travel lasts. It does not matter. But he never said that. Very easy to say this. He never said this. What he did, that's what I'm going to use as a template. That's what the scholars say about this. The majority of scholars, at least, they follow this. And like I told you, there's an opinion that says otherwise, that's outside of the four schools that I discourage from following. They say that safar is something that is urfi, and the safar is going to last for as long as you're considered a traveler, even if it takes months. But that's a minority opinion. It's outside of the four schools. Anyway, that's the distance of travel. That's the duration of travel. The cause of travel. What must the cause of the travel be? Can it be anything? As we said last time, the scholars say it needs to be لِغَرَضٍ صَحِيح. It needs to be for a valid reason. Meaning, if it was for something that is considered prohibited, then we won't allow shortening and combining. Like what? We just gave a hypothetical. If someone is traveling to gamble, say this is something they struggle with. They struggle with gambling, but they don't struggle with salah. They don't want to do which one is a bigger sin, gambling or tark salah? Of course, tark salah is bigger. So they struggle with gambling, but they pray. If they travel to gamble, they can't shorten and combine. We said this one's an area of question. There's a question mark around this. What if someone's traveling to go to a beach, right? We said if it is known that this environment is absolutely haram and inappropriate, then this may be a question mark. Is this safar ma'siyah or is this a safar that is halal? Allahu a'lam. But out of precaution, I would advise not to shorten and combine for that. لِغَرَضٍ صَحِيح. What does this include? A legitimate cause. What does it include? It includes work? Yes. It includes anything that is acceptable religiously, like what? Da'wah, visiting family, silat rahim, ziyarat marid, visiting someone who's sick. These are all reasons that are justifiable and okay. All right, now here's the big question. What if it's لِتَنَزُّهِ وَرُؤْيَةِ الْبِلَادِ? What if it is purely for fun and for viewing nature, for looking at nature, and for izalat kudurat al-nafs? I just want to atfassah, and I just want to go out and have fun, right? Can I shorten and combine for this reason? Majority, no. There is a madhab that says yes, Hanbali school, from what I recall. They say tanazzuh is a sufficient enough cause for shortening and combining, ma fi mushkila. That's what they say. Wallahu a'lam. And of course, like we said, you could make the gharad sahih if it is ligharad dini. Even if it is going out to a park, it could become a justifiable cause. All right. When can I start shortening? As soon as I leave my town. I don't need to cover 50-mile distance. As soon as I leave my town, Clifton, I can shorten and combine. In Clifton, I cannot shorten and combine. Can I combine before travel? We said the answer to this question. What was it? According to one madhab, yes. Others, no. Who allows it? Hanbali school again. MashaAllah, 2 points for the Hanbali school. No, the Hanbali school allows you to what? Pray 4 and 4. Habibi, stop playing with that bottle. You're distracting me. Go to the back over there. So pray 4 and 4. 4 and 4 before you travel. And this is one of the respected madahib. So one can do this, But again, you want to try to be consistent in your worship. Don't mix and match. Don't mix it. Be consistent. Make sure your salah is sahiha in full according to one of the scholarly opinions. Okay? So, but this is one opinion that allows that. The others, they say no. You can only shorten and combine after you leave your town. Okay? Now, what else is, okay, we said the other condition is you cannot be praying behind someone who's praying a full prayer. If you're praying behind someone who's praying a full prayer, then guess what? You have to pray a full prayer, right? So can someone traveling lead someone who's a resident? Answer, yes, no problem. There's actually a hadith that says this, that the sunnah is for the traveler, once you make salam from your second rak'ah, you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And then before you say the second taslima, to remind the musalleen, this is something the Prophet ﷺ did, it's mentioned in the hadith, أَتِمُّ صَلَاتَكُمْ فَإِنَّا قَوْمٌ سَفَرٌ. All right, continue your prayers, for we are a people who are traveling. And then the imam would say the second taslima, everyone behind him would stand up and continue with 2 more. So a traveler can lead the prayers. But if a traveler follows someone who's a resident, they must pray a full prayer. Okay, now another question. If I had missed a prayer, say for example, I was getting ready for my safar, and I was so busy, and I missed the salah. I couldn't pray dhuhr in time. So during the time of dhuhr, I was a resident. But then I traveled. And I have to do qada al-dhuhr now as musafir. Someone who's traveling, who has to make up a prayer they missed as a resident, what do they pray? 2 or 4? 4. Why? Because they missed it as a resident. They have to make it up just like it was supposed to be prayed. 4 rak'ahs. Okay. During travel, I missed Fajr prayers. I missed Dhuhr prayers. I missed Dhuhr prayers as a traveler. And now it's time for Asr. I didn't do, let's assume I missed Dhuhr and Asr as a traveler. And it's Maghrib now. So I need to do Qada of Dhuhr and Asr. As a traveler, making up a prayer I missed as a traveler. What do I pray? 4 and 4 or 2 and 2? 2 and 2. This is what I do. If I'm going to do Qada in Safar for a Salah that was due in Safar, 2 and 2. Okay, another situation. What if I get back home and I have to make up a prayer that I missed as a musafir? I was a traveler. I could have prayed Dhuhr and Asr, 2 and 2. But I did not, and I missed Dhuhr and Asr. I got home at Maghrib. Now after I have to do Qada of Dhuhr and Asr, do I pray it 2-2 or 4-4? No. Now that I am muqim and I'm doing Qada, I'm going to pray 4 and 4. 4 and 4. قضاء فائتة السفر في الحضر بإتمام الصلاة 4 ركعات. تمام? So if I miss a prayer during my safar, فائتة السفر وأنا الآن في الحضر يعني مقيم, I am now a resident and I'm making up a traveler prayer. I'm going to consider when it was originally due or the current situation? No, current. So I need to pray 4 and 4. Good? Because now I'm always in all of these situations, I am going to, first off, there's 2 things. Al-ihtiyat is one thing you consider, and then the al-waqi' al-hali is something else you consider. So I'm still a musafir, I missed a prayer as a musafir, make it up as a musafir. Fine, this is clear. I was muqim, I was a resident, and now I'm musafir. I have to make up something that was due. It's mantiqi, right? If I prayed my dhuhr on time, I was supposed to pray 4 rak'ahs. Right now, how am I going to take a rukhsa for something? I wasn't musafir when I was in dhuhr. So now I have to make it up 4. Now, I came back as a resident. Salah ta'allaqat fi. The salah is connected with me, right? But I didn't pray it as a musafir. And we know that rukhas al-safar muta'alliqa bil-safar. So now, 2 and 2, this was a dispensation for me when I was a traveler. Now I'm no more a traveler. So you miss out on this rukhsa. That's it. It's gone. They say even look at this. This was old in the books, in the old fiqh books, when they used to travel by boat, right? Say, imagine you're doing qasr and jama', and you're almost back home into the port in your city, right? And you start praying dhuhr, 2 rak'ahs, you finish it. Now you're in asr, and as you're praying asr, وصلت إلى بلد الإقامة. You reach your place of residence. They say you can't finish your salah as 2. It's done. You reached your neighborhood. Now you have to continue it as 4, right? Because you're muqim. إيش الغريب? What's so strange about it? It's new, huh? Yeah, it's everything new is gharib shway. But after a little bit, it won't be gharib. Yeah. So always because we're always going to follow this qaida for ihtiyat lil ibadah. Allah tied it to safar. How am I going to apply it to hadar? Allah tied it to travel. How am I going to go ahead and apply this to me being a resident now? I can't. Now I'm praying qada, and I am muqim. I am a resident. I'm praying a make-up prayer, and I'm a resident. So I need to pray it in its fullest way. No, it's not. Did you not pay attention? The cause for jama' is قطع المسافة السفر وأنا مش مسافر. No, because of travel. This is a hikmah, not a illah. That's a wisdom, not the cause. The cause is قطع المسافة. But am I a traveler now? Answer. You're still tired? This is why the reason, the illah is not mashaqqa. يعني مثلا دلوقتي أنا I was بنقل في عفش وغراض and I'm moving from one house to another. I'm so tired. It's so difficult day, right? Now I want to shorten prayers. Huh? That's why it's حكمة مش علة حد. Just فهمها. It's difficulty ولا مش difficulty. Okay, so I had منتهى اليسر والتيسير. Mercedes, luxury, leather, مش عارف إيه. No difficulty at all. بقدر أقصر وأجمع? Can I shorten and combine? No? Were you in our class last time? Yes? Yes, okay, so the difficulty is a relative thing. You got it? So you're going to come back from a travel, you're tired. Someone else is going to come back from a travel, I feel great. I just spent $20,000 on those nice beds that you get from the airplanes that go to the United Arab Emirates. I just spent $20,000. Best luxury I could ever imagine. Right? I don't feel tired. What are we going to say? Don't tijma' and don't taqsur? No? Yeah. No, this is the rule. It is not the reason why. This is hukum. If you don't like it, you don't have to take it. It's up to you. Yeah. So no, if you get back home, just remember this, you have to pray 4 and 4. You can't do otherwise anyway. And I actually don't know anyone who says otherwise. And this is because based on hadith, based on adillah, I don't know of any madhab that says you could pray qasr when you're back home. No one says this. Okay? Go look it up. If you find someone who says it, bring it to me. Inshallah. Jazakallah khair. All right, let's go on. Now, all right. What does second home mean? We already addressed this question. Do I have a house? Then as soon as I get to a place where I have a house, I can't shorten my prayers. If it's my mother and father's house and I'm just going to visit them for a little bit, this is not my house. Like we said, some people, they go away for college, مثلا, for a few months, but I live at home with my family, I'm just away for college. Then, no, you can't shorten. So it depends, you know. You got it? We addressed this last time. Yes. So remember, if you have a second house, it's going to be a second place of residence. If it's not your house, then you're musafir. Or if you don't live there, like technically, you're not considered one of the residents of the house. Tamam? Okay. Like we said, when you're a traveler, you need to be seeking a particular location. Rakib al-ta'asif, someone who's just joyriding, I'm going to keep on riding. You can't shorten and combine if you're just joyriding. You need to be going to a specific location. The other thing that we have here is, okay, that's pretty much, okay, now say here, say if I enter a prayer, and I don't know if my imam is shortening or praying in full. I don't know. Is this, most of us are musafirin. But this imam, I don't know if he's musafir or not. Mathalan, we went out for a protest. And we're praying in the park. Most of us are travelers. But I have no idea. Maybe this imam's from this locality. I have no idea. I'm praying behind him. I don't know. What should I do? I should link my salah with the salah of the imam. And if he's shortening, I shorten. If he's not shortening, I don't shorten. So this is when I have the niyyah, this is what I do. نَوَيْتُ بِمَا نَوَى بِهِ إِمَامِي. I intend whatever my imam intends. This is what you should do if you are unsure if your imam is going to pray full or shorten. Right? So this is what you should do. Wallahu a'lam. That's pretty much. And then like we said, if it's multiple city, you could continue to shorten and combine as much as you want. It doesn't matter. If you're going to be, I'm going to be gone for the next few months. I'm going to be traveling city 1, city 2, city 3, city 4, city 5, and I keep on moving, shorten and combine, no problem. Good. That's pretty much everything that we said in terms of qasr. We're going to go into jama' now. Does anyone have any questions before we go into qasr, before we go into jama'? Yes. Uh-huh. This needs a course by itself. We went over this in Tarikh al-Tashri', the history of Islamic law. So the question that the Hajj asked was, who gave Shafi'i and Hanbali the right to say these things, do this or do that? They didn't do it an hawa, but we have something in our deen called ijtihad. And this ijtihad is based on the nusus, based on the texts. Not all the time you'll have a clear-cut answer. And like we said, for safar specifically, if we had a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, "As-safaru arba'atu ayyam," right? Travel is 4 days. Khalas, no one's going to differ at all. But what did we do? We don't have, whoever travels 50 miles is musafir. If the Prophet ﷺ said this, you're not going to find any other opinion. But we don't have. We just have situations. The Prophet ﷺ, safar min huna ila huna. Kam al-masafa? Okay. He safar min huna ila huna. We're going to assess everything as far in Nabi ﷺ during his time, and we're going to find that maybe we can make an estimation. Because there's no nas muhaddad fi, there's no explicit thing in it. Now, مثلا, you're not going to find the madahib say, Allah Shafi'i بيقول الخمر حلال والحنبلي بيقول الخمر حرام. You're not going to find this. It's مذكور في القرآن يعني. There's nas قاطع. There's an explicit text in the Quran that tells you alcohol is haram. You will not find difference of opinion about this. But what happens is things aren't clear-cut as they seem. And the more you become aware of hadith, you'll be aware of this. Sometimes there are two hadiths that go against each other. So one scholar will accept one of the hadiths, and the other one he'll reject it because one of them is stronger. Or they'll see this hadith as am and this one as khas. Or they'll see that this was a special circumstance. One was general, one was specific. Or they'll see this is a special circumstance. This is ilm. This is a vast knowledge. This is why we have fiqh. Because what? النصوص متناهية. There's a specific number of hadiths and ayat. But الوقائع غير متناهية. The circumstances that could come about in people's lives are endless. That's why we have qawaid, principles, and the scholars are going to differ because it's not clear cut which of these. Now, مثلا التنزه لرؤية البلاد. Do we have a hadith that says, okay, if you go out عشان تتفسح, go to an amusement park, you can't اجمع اقصر? No, you don't have they didn't have amusement parks. They didn't go out during the time of the Prophet ﷺ يتفسحوا. But where are they getting this from? They didn't go out for vacations like that. But They're getting this from the concept of gharad sahih, for a legitimate cause. Because this is a rukhsa, right? This is if it's not a legitimate cause, how can I think that Allah is going to give me a free pass to do something that doesn't have a legitimate cause? فما فيش نص في هذا الشيء. So some of them are going to say, no, this is not a legitimate cause. This is something you're doing for fun. You want a rukhsa and you're doing it for fun? No. But the others are going to say, no, it's a legitimate cause, it's a legitimate cause. Why should I say that this is haram when Allah made it halal? And again, there's not clear-cut things. فهمت علي? So this is why we have these things. What does gharad sahih mean, and when can I apply? What does a legitimate reason refer to? And when can I follow a dispensation? الرخص لا يصار إليها إلا بيقين. When I follow a dispensation, I need to have clear reason. Now we're going to get into the subject of jama', and we're going to have a clear example on this when we're talking about combining due to rain or snow. We're going to talk about this, inshallah. What other questions do we have before we go on? Go ahead. You have a question? You have a question? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, you have a question? Yes, you can. It's allowable. There's nothing that would prohibit it, so how can I say it's haram? The default is we're encouraged to do nafil prayers. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ would do nafil prayers as he was traveling, as he was riding on his ride. He would do tanaful ala rahila. That's why we get this concept of idea. You know, when you're in your car, if you're doing nafil prayers, can you pray while you're in your car? Go ahead. It's a recommended prayer. Even if you're not facing the qibla, even if you're not standing up, even if you can't do sujood, it's flexible because it's nafil prayer. It's an extra prayer, right? If you want to, actually, to answer your question, I know somebody who does it as a driver. So, but don't take this from me because it's dangerous. Some people have tried this. But, what are you going to do when you're doing sujood? It's, of course, according to your ability. You're driving, you're not going to do sujood like this, and then you're going to hit into the wall, So, but some people will do ruku' like that, and then they'll stay looking forward, and then they'll do sujood like this, and they'll keep their hands nearby the steering wheel. You don't want to try it? Don't. But as a passenger, go ahead. You can do it. It's very easy. I'm not telling you to drive like this, by the way. But I'm just telling you, asked me, do you know someone who did? I know someone who did this. Barakallahu fi. He prayed with us Salat al-Isha, mashallah. Huh? Can you pray the sunnahs? You can. But you don't have to, because sunnah is not even required. But there's nothing to say you can't pray the sunnah, right? You can pray the sunnah, go ahead. But the whole idea of shortening and combining the prayers to make life easier for you. So if you're willing to pray 4 rak'ahs sunnah before and 4 rak'ahs sunnah after for dhuhr, then you might as well pray dhuhr 4 rak'ahs. but the whole idea is to make life easier for you. Wallahu alam. Yeah. أها. وليش رح يأخروها؟ لا يعني بس حنأخرها ليش؟ أعوذ بالله. No. من نام عن صلاة أو نسيها فليصليها إذا ذكرها لا قضاء لها إلا ذلك. Qada, yeah, if you miss Fajr, so just so you know what her question is, her son, if he misses Fajr prayers from its time, he thought that you just have to pray Dhuhr prayers, وخلاص, you don't have to do anything for Fajr. Of course you have to do Qada. You have to do Qada. Yeah. الضحى is موضوع مختلف. Yeah, what you have to pray is Fajr. You want to pray Duha, 2 rak'ahs, 4 rak'ahs, 6 rak'ahs, 8 rak'ahs, it doesn't matter. It's recommended, it's not required. Allah يفتح عليك إن شاء الله. But I'm saying إذا حدا سألك هذا هو الجواب. Okay? جزاك الله خير. Allah يهديه. Go ahead. Yeah, your question? You can't? No, you could. You could, but if you pray behind someone who's praying a full prayer, you have to pray a full prayer. No, you can pray behind them, but you have to pray a full prayer, 4 rak'ahs, as far as I know. Yes, because إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ. The imam is so that you can follow. You chose to follow someone praying a full prayer, now you have to pray a full prayer. You got it? Yeah. Anyone else who has a question before we go to the next subject? Let's go to the next subject. Bismillah. Yes. Then of course that you would disregard this. Yeah. So this is provided that you're not staying in one location for more than the maximum duration of travel. Okay? Or the maximum duration for you to be considered a traveler. Okay. Al-jam'u bayna salatayn, combining between two prayers. The causes for combining prayers are not limited to travel. But they mention it after the section on travel because one of the primary causes for combining is travel. Okay? And it has also the most scenarios. So we have, in the Shafi'i school, there are 3 main reasons for combining prayers. The first one is safar, travel. And in travel, you could do jam' taqdeem or jam' ta'khir. You could pray in the time of the first or in the time of the second. Meaning, I could pray dhuhr and asr during the time of dhuhr, or dhuhr and asr in the time of asr. I have the choice, either one. You cannot do that with any other type of combining. Mathalan, it's raining outside. I say I want to do jam' ta'khir. You can't. You can't delay dhuhr from its time because there's rain outside. No, you're going to do jam' taqdeem. You're going to pray in the time of the first, right? There's actually one more. So safar is the first one. Second one is rain or something that's in the meaning of rain. Like what? Snow, hail, sleet, things like that. These all have the same ruling as rain. Okay? That's the second one. You can only pray in the time of the first. The third one, is there a third cause? According to some scholars, there's a third cause. What is it? Illness, marad. In marad, in illness, you would be able to pray in the time of the first or in the time of the second. Taqdeem or ta'khir. Just like travel. Okay. There is a hadith that you need to know about when it comes to combining. This hadith is narrated by Ibn Abbas and it's in Bukhari and Muslim. What does it say? جمع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في المدينة من غير خوف ولا مطر. Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, they say, جمع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بين الظهر والعصر في المدينة من غير خوف ولا مطر. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم combined between dhuhr and asr prayers in Medina as a resident, يعني he wasn't traveling, without any cause of rain or fear. Rain or fear. Of course, khawf, what is that? We're going to have Salat al-Khawf is going to come with us, the fear prayers, special circumstance in jihad, when the Prophet ﷺ would be at battle and at war. So the Prophet ﷺ gathered between these prayers. This hadith, there is so much detail in explaining this hadith. How should I understand this? Here's a critical question. Is it okay to combine prayers between Dhuhr and Asr or Maghrib and Isha for no reason at all? The answer is no. There is always a reason. Right? The hadith continues. They asked Ibn Abbas, why did the Prophet ﷺ do this? So the response was from Ibn Abbas, أَرَادَ أَلَّا يُحْرِجَ أُمَّتَهُ. He did not want to cause haraj and difficulty for his ummah. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now, how should I understand this hadith, combining prayers? One opinion was that this is jam' suri, combining or in the image of combining, not actually combining prayers. What does that mean? This is referring to a situation where the Prophet ﷺ needed to delay dhuhr prayers to the very end of its time. So he prayed dhuhr. When does Asr come in? 2:11 right now. He prayed dhuhr at 2:05, right? And then as soon as Asr came in, 2:11, he prayed Asr immediately after. So it looks like he combined prayers, but he didn't actually combine them. This is one interpretation. A second interpretation of this hadith is it was for a third reason. What is this third reason? Illness. What type of illness allows me to combine prayers? This is going to vary person by person. It needs to be an illness that makes it very difficult to pray, right? Like, so if it causes me, like say for example, I have this this fever or this flu, and I'm just so exhausted, I cannot stay awake till Salat al-Isha, I feel like I'm going to collapse. So what do we say? Pray Maghrib and Isha, Jam' Taqdeem, and go to sleep. Why? You have a udhr, illness, no problem. Go ahead. Or for example, remember your COVID days. If you got COVID and it was severe to you, and with your COVID, you were releasing fluids a lot. You had to non-stop back and forth to the bathroom, back and forth you could not keep your wudu whatsoever. And it was so difficult. So we can say in this type of situation, go ahead and combine the prayers. Dhuhr and Asr, because I cannot even, we said like ishal or something of that nature, diarrhea or something of that, would even be an excuse for you to miss Jumu'ah. Like we have a brother or a sister, or well, a sister is not required to aslan attend, but we have a brother, comes with us, come to a question, I am really sick. I cannot keep my wudu for more than a few minutes. And if I come to Salat al-Jumu'ah, I'm going to be going making wudu like 5 times before the Imam finishes the khutbah. Right? We're going to tell the brother, لك رخصة في ترك صلاة الجمعة وتصلي الظهر في بيتك. You could pray dhuhr at home because there's a rukhsa, it's difficulty. It is من أعذار تخلف عن الجمعة. It is one of the excuses for not going to Jumu'ah prayers. That's how severe it is. So it would be a cause for combining prayers too. So this is another interpretation of this hadith. Now, this is the interpretation of the majority of scholars. There needs to be a reason. There is an opinion that's floating around that's held by a fringe minority. I discourage you from following this opinion. Of course, we respect all the scholars, but being precautious for your ibadah is something that is important. There is an opinion that says you can combine between Dhuhr and Asr or Maghrib and Isha if you have a reason, as long as you don't take it as a habit. Mathalan, I'm having a difficult day at work and I'm going to combine Dhuhr and Asr because I have so much work to do and I'm very, very busy. I'm not going to have any time. There's an opinion that says this. As long as you don't take it as a habit. But I strongly discourage you from following this opinion. This is outside of the 4 schools. As far as I know, it's not the preponderant opinion in any school. It's not the strong opinion in any school. And we should be more precautious for our ibadah than this. So this is just to address that. Wallahu a'lam. Now, when it comes to the specifics, when can I combine between Dhuhr and Asr or Maghrib and Isha for rain? You will find, and this is going to give 1 point to the Shafi'i school. In the past section was the Hanbali school, now it's the Shafi'i school. You will find that the most flexible of the madhahib on this issue is the Shafi'i school. Of course, the Hanafi school, forget about it, they don't even combine between prayers in any situation. Okay? The Shafi'i school allows you to combine between Dhuhr and Asr or Maghrib and Isha. For rain, if the criteria is met. The Maliki school does not allow this. It only allows it for night prayers, Maghrib and Isha only, when certain criteria is met. They don't allow it for Dhuhr and Asr. The Shafi'i school even allows it for Jumu'ah and Asr. And in fact, the Hanbali school doesn't even allow that. The Hanbali school does not allow combining between Jumu'ah and Asr. But the Shafi'i school allows all of that. Dhuhr and Asr for rain, or Jumu'ah and Asr for rain too. It doesn't matter. All of these situations are allowed. Now, what is the rain? This is a question, This is a question that the answer to it will not appeal to some people. So what is the type of rain that allows people to combine salah? They say it needs to be matar yabullu thawb. It needs to be enough rain to make your clothes wet. Meaning, what does this exclude? If the floor was wet and it stopped raining, can we combine? No. Okay. If it was raining outside, but it was so light, like a mist, and if I was to stand in the rain, I wouldn't even get wet. It's just a light haze or mist. I can't combine. It needs to be enough rain that it would leave marks on my clothes. Not drench it, not like a bucket poured on your head, but at least, it would make your clothes wet. This is their criteria for the rukhsa. And again, this is not something that you have a hadith on. This is something that the scholars try their best to follow this principle. When should I follow the rukhsa? When am I considered someone who has this udhr? If it's not raining, and it doesn't the rain's not truly coming down in a way that would hinder my salah, then how can I do jama'? So this is all taqribi. So, all right, now it needs to be matar yabullu thawb. All right, it needs to, and so this is the first condition. It needs to be rain that would wet your clothing. Okay, what if it's just really cold outside, and like mathalan, say if our normal temperature during the winter would go down to 20 degrees, 10 degrees, something like this. But say if we have below zero one day, but it's sunny, sun's out, but freezing cold. Can I combine the salah because it's freezing cold? For the day prayers, like I said, the only ones who allow jama' between dhuhr and asr for these causes is who? Shafi'i school. And they themselves do not even allow this. Just combining because of, what about the night prayers? Yeah, here I would have an excuse according to the Maliki school. The Maliki school would allow, if it's a very cold night, mathalan, it snowed, but the snow stopped. But it's freezing, chill, cold, and it's windy. According to the Maliki school, I would be able to combine. So that's about, but that's only for the night prayer. If it's really cold. But day prayer, sun's out, among the four madhahib, you will not find anyone who says you could combine between the prayers. And the four madhahib, they're a big thing. They're not like four friends in the masjid. You're talking about, these are generations of ulama from all different schools of law. This is not 1, 2, or 100 or 1,000. You're talking about alaf al-ulama, thousands of scholars. They all did not allow this situation. If you allow it for your salah, go ahead. It's up to you. But we need to be precautious. They say that actually, this is one of the signs of fisq, of rebellion against Allah Azza wa Jal, is for one to go to rukhsa and dispensation without there being clear cause of it. They say that this is sinful. For someone to go to a rukhsa without there being a clear udhr for it. That's what they say in the books. That's not my words. You don't like it, go to the fuqaha and ask them why you said this. But anyway, this is, let me just finish it. Okay. When does the rain need to be? The rain particularly needs to be until I start the first rak'ah. Mathalan, say if I'm in salah, dhuhr, and it wasn't raining when we started. But in the last rak'ah, we got lucky. No, we got lucky and it started raining really hard. And now we have the chance to do jama'. Can I do it? Yes. Here, pay attention to this. I need one condition for doing jama' is I have to have the intention to combine at some point in as-salah al-ula. Not necessarily with the beginning of it, takbirat al-ihram. Even if before taslim, even before I say salam from the first salah, I have to make the intention to combine. If I do this, go ahead. So this is fine. Say if we have the intention to combine, but it's the opposite. In the middle of the prayer, the rain stops. And now it stopped raining. We know this clearly. It stopped raining. Can I now do jama'? No, I can't, because it needs to at least start in the beginning. First rak'ah of salah, the rain needs to be continuing. Say if we're in the middle of Asr though, and we pray, we're halfway through doing Jam', combining, and I finished halfway through Asr. No, here now I could continue, no problem. Because when I started the Salah, there was the rukhsa. The udhr was there. It was still raining. So it needs to still be raining until you start the second Salah, right? So this is about, so I need نية الجمع في الأولى. I need وبقاء العذر إلى ابتداء الثانية. So the intention of combining in the first, and the excuse remaining until I begin the second, right? And then the other thing is, it needs to be at least significant enough rain. All right, what about snow? Same thing. If it snows, it's snowing, I'm going to treat snow just like rain. If it's very light flurries, don't combine. If it is substantial enough that it would get on my clothes, make me wet, make my hair wet, or whatever, then combine. Okay? If I'm not sure, then what? I'm not going to combine unless I'm certain. Where can I combine? Pay attention to this. Pay attention. Where can I combine? I could only combine in Jama'at al-Masjid al-Ratiba. The main Jama'ah in the masjid. That's the only time I could combine. I cannot combine at home, because what's the point of combining at home? Stay home and drink some hot chocolate, or enjoy the snow. What are you going to combine at home for? The whole idea behind combining is because coming back out to pray is going to be really difficult. All right, what if there is a massive storm and it's going to start at 1 p.m. and we pray Dhuhr at 12 p.m.? So we're looking at the things that says 100% chance of rain, and a hurricane is coming our way. But it didn't start yet. Can I combine? No, if it's not during the Salah, I can't combine, right? Now say if I missed the Jama'ah, because why? The udhr, the excuse needs to be in the time. If it's after, then I can't do it. All right. Say if I missed the Jama'ah of the masjid, but I came to Salah, and I want to pray alone. Can I combine by myself? Answer, no, right? This is the next thing after that. Now, say if I come in with another brother. We missed the jama'ah of the masjid. Can I combine? Answer, no. It's good as praying alone, because this is a udhr that was established for the congregation of the masjid. And so it must be limited to that. So this is another condition. Now, another thing, so it's only in the masjid with the congregation of the masjid, and it cannot be done alone. And then another thing along with this is I need to pray the two prayers consecutively. Tamam? I need to, like say for example, I just did dhuhr prayers. Someone leaves, goes to the door and says, oh man, it's pouring rain. Let me go tell the Shaykh. Shaykh, it's raining outside really hard. Can we pray Salat al-Asr right now? Khalas, if there's no mu'ala, if there's no consecutiveness, we cannot do it. This even applies in your travel, by the way. Imagine during your travel, you are praying Dhuhr and Asr, Jam' Taqdeem Qasr, مثلا. And during your prayers, you just finished Dhuhr, but you really have to use the bathroom. So you know what? You say, I'm going to go use the bathroom and I'll come back and I'll pray Asr. No. That you need to have muwalah between Dhuhr and Asr. If you don't pray them consecutively, guess what? You have to leave Asr till its time. This is according to most scholars. There is an opinion that allows this. It's the opinion of Imam Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah, he says you don't need to have muwalah between the two prayers. You don't need to pray them consecutively. Even if you don't pray them consecutively, it's okay. But the others, they say, no, you need to pray them consecutively. All right, I know I just mentioned so many. And the same thing applies to ice and snow and the sleet, by the way. If it's substantial enough that it would, either make you wet or disturb your path or something like that, like if we have extreme ice warnings or مش then we would follow that. We would follow that rule as well. I'll stop here. I'll pause here. Who has questions? Go ahead. Before ending the first prayer. So before salam, at some point before salam, you need to make the intention to combine. So say I started my salah and I hear the thunder going on outside. And I say, okay, you know what, I could hear the rain. All right, I'm going to say, all right, you know what, I'm going to do jam'. That's fine. Even if you didn't have the intention in the beginning. As long as it's before the end. Yes, the imam makes the intention for the congregation. Yeah, because you link your prayer with the imam's prayer. Yeah. No. So there's a good question. Do these rules apply to the musalla on campus? Now we have like this cafeteria in our MSA. That's where we do our MSA meetings, and this is where we could use as a musalla. Can you do jama' for matar or for rain in the musalla of the jam'ah? Answer is no. It's in jama'at al-masjid. It needs to be in a masjid. Something that is mawqoof, endowed as a masjid. Allah. No, that's a musalla. What's the difference between a musalla and a masjid? A masjid cannot and should not be sold. A masjid is not owned by somebody. It's owned by Allah. It is something that is it's an endowment, right? It's for the public benefit. A musalla, I could use it. I could use room 102 this year, and then someone could tell us we're going to move you guys to room 203. And it's fine. All right, we're going to dismantle this musalla and open another musalla somewhere else. A musalla is not something that you own. It's something, and it's not something that was intended as a masjid, right? مستشفيات؟ مش فاهم عليك. Now look, if they make if it depends. يعني if the owner of the mustashfa, this is usually not going to happen here. But مثلا, say if you go to a Muslim country, and you know the masjid, the mustashfa has a masjid. هذا خلاص مبني كمسجد معين كمسجد مش مصلى. It's then this is masjid. له حكم المسجد. Even if it's تابع للمدرسة أو المستشفى or whatever it is. If it's a masjid, it's a masjid. If it's a musalla, then no, this is different. فهمت علي؟ عفوا؟ It doesn't have to be a separate building. It just needs to be موقوف. This is musalla. They could come to you later on and say, all right, this is no longer they're not doing a waqf here. This is, it can be if they wanted to. If they're gonna, you know, مثلا هالكيت the idara of the mustashfa says, okay, we need this room. We'll find you guys another room. You could take them to court. أجبت حالك يعني خلاص. This is the جواب. This is the answer. They own it. وأن المساجد لله. All right, it's المسجد لله. If someone comes and tries to sell the masjid for no good reason at all, what are we going to do? We're going to نعمل له ثورة. If there's a good reason, that's a different subject. But we're talking about someone. Imagine someone decides, all right, this is a good masjid, everything's fine, there's no reason at all. But مزاج وهوى, I want to sell this masjid. مزاج وهوى. Imagine if it's like that. But if there's a reason, موضوع ثاني. خلينا بعيد عنه. That has fiqh خاص. Like مثلا إذا تعطل المسجد أو مثلا if people stopped using it or so on and so forth, is a different subject. But المهم, masjid is different. Masjid belongs to Allah. Yeah, it could have a board that oversees the maslaha, but it doesn't belong to anybody. Now, مثلا, this is a masjid. Who owns it? Who owns it? Nobody. Now, ICPC has a board, right? This board's going to change next year or the year after that, and it keeps changing. It's not owned by fulan wala allan. This is my masjid. No, it's not. It's for Allah. فهمت علي? Allah. Any other questions? Yeah. Maybe. Maybe, but technically what they say, you should do muwala. If a special circumstance and you want to follow the madhab of Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, ما في حرج يعني. Huh? Yeah, I'm laughing. I said, yeah, maybe. If you want to do the rukhsa, pray again, dhuhr again and combine. يعني, I don't know if there's any manner. You're right. Maybe there's okay. Uh-huh. But we don't want to put anyone on the spot. Everyone has their... Look, I'm not going to tell you that I have all of the ilm in the world and my ilm is the only right ilm. لا احنا كلنا نتواضع لله ونتواضع للعلم. I'm nothing in terms of ilm. So people have different viewpoints. ويجب أن يحترم هذا. Everyone has? No. Some people are going to say, you know what, look, if I'm talking about the ulama, I'm not talking about ammat al-nas, I'm talking about the ulama. If a alim who's acting upon ilm, you had some of the Sahaba and Tabi'een who had their own opinions on certain issues that none of the madhahib followed. Now, هات تحكي لابن عباس انت كذا because you have your own opinion. I'm not going to, of course, Ibn Abbas is حبر الأمة وترجمان القرآن. Is a great scholar of the ummah. So if someone has some ilm and they want to follow this ilm, that's fine. As long as the people who are following me know something. The opinion that I'm following is this is where amanat al-ilm wal ulama comes. I just need to be clear with people. Or you want to follow me? Up to you. But اعرف إنه معظم العلماء على خلاف رأيي. Most of the scholars go against my opinion. If I do this, then at least what? I've done my job. You follow whatever you want. So this is where we need to respect the shuyukh and respect the scholars. If they want to follow another opinion, like now just to clarify, are the madhahib al-arba'a the end all, be all? They're the only opinions in Islam? No, no one's going to tell you that. Ya madhahib al-arba'a ya la. We're not going to tell you that. But just know in your heart, if you find it okay to go against thousands of scholars, you're very courageous. Make sure that you're confident in what you're doing. Because wara' and precaution teaches us that, you know what, if most scholars say this is haram, I'm going to be precautious. But sometimes you might say, well, no, my life is so difficult because of this opinion. I can't follow it. I need to follow the minority opinion. Then, inshallah, بينك وبين ربك, Allah will accept from you. Inshallah, you're not trying to go against the boundaries of Allah. You're not trying to transgress. You're not trying to do something haram. You're genuinely trying to do what's right. This is where I need to respect the ulama. Khalas, if they want to do this. But anyway, now you know for yourself. If this is opinion of majority, or khalas, I want to be precautious, khalas. There's a beautiful lines of poetry that share this, that say the following. لقولهم ولم يجوز للورع أن يحمل الناس على التورع وخلي من سواك يتبع طريقه ضيقه والمتسع لقولهم ولم يجوز للورع أن يحمل الناس على التورع. These are two beautiful lines of poetry. They say وخلي من سواك يتبع. Let anyone besides you, right, follow their path. ضيقه والمتسع. Someone wants to follow rukhas and follow all easy opinions, leave him. That's for him, right? Because they said it's not allowable for sahib al-wara' and يحمل الناس على التورع, to force people to be precautious. I can't force people. لست عليهم بمسيطر. There's a reason why we have khilaf. So if someone wants easy, they have easy. Someone wants conservative, strict, they have strict. فهمت علي? والله أعلم. Jazakallah khair. I hope that helps. And by the way, understand everything I say, that because sometimes I say things with passion. I have very strong opinions about certain things. I'm Palestinian, of course, so this is part of it. But this is always understood that احترام العلماء واختلاف العلماء is wajib. It is mandatory to respect scholars. If someone else says I'm saying this because I'm with you guys. But if I was with one of the other shuyukh who has a different viewpoint, I'll have a completely different attitude. Respect, regard, deference. Everyone's going to follow what they're going to follow in the end of the day. And inshallah, we're all seeking Allah's rida. May Allah accept from us all. Wallahu a'lam. Yeah. All right. Who else has a question? Go ahead. Oh, you had a question? You sure? Okay. You had a question? If someone goes? No. Don't do jama' if you're going to have a surgery. Just do it as qada. ما في مشكلة. I'm معذور. I missed Asr prayers because I was in surgery for hours. It's not my fault. What am I going to do? I'm going to do qada. عادي. قضاء لا إثم فيه. There's no haraj, there's no sin in this type of qada because I'm ma'dhur, I'm excused, right? So in this type of situation, you have to board the flight. You can't pray Fajr outside like you normally would. You have to board the flight. That's the question. All right. In the flight, if it's international flight, usually there would be a chance to pray somewhere, like by where the exit space is. If it's a domestic flight, it's going to be too difficult. So because there's no space. So in this case, what do? Pray sitting down, and then make it up when you get to your destination. You pray لِحُرْمَةِ الْوَقْتِ. Pray for the sanctity of the time. In the airplane, when you get to your destination, you pray the full prayer. This is the Shafi'i opinion on the issue. There are some scholars who say, if there is a darura and there's no situation that you could pray standing up, in this case, you've done what you're expected to do, and you don't need to make it up later on. So there's two viewpoints. Wallahu alam. Yeah. So some of them are, technically this was applied during the time of the Prophet ﷺ during harb. Because what other khawf is there going to be? I'm afraid that someone's going to come break into my house, mathalan. But some of them today, what did they use this example for? When we had COVID. Some of them said that because there's khawf intishar al-adwa. But again, there was a tirab on this issue. There was like a back and forth on this issue. So what was the opinion? Some scholars allowed combining between Maghrib and Isha or Dhuhr and Asr from fear of spread of contagion. So if you come twice or three or four times, there's a greater chance you might get sick with COVID than if you were to come once or twice, right? So that was the logic they used. But the answer, the other side said, no, that doesn't make sense. If you were truly afraid, then you wouldn't have come to the jama'ah at all. Because when you come to the jama'ah, and especially you're going to stay for 2 salahs instead of 1, when you stay in the same spot for a long period of time, there's a greater chance you might get COVID. So some of them applied this to this issue, but there wasn't really a consensus. I saw the back and forth between the shuyukh and the ulama in our area. Some people said this and some people said that. And it was there's no clear consensus on this issue. But technically, during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, al-khawf kan huwa fil harb, in war, right? So now, like the people in Gaza right now, this would be a good chance, a good example. Say if they were able to come for Salat al-Jama'ah on a small scale, but they're terrified because if we keep on coming together, there's a good chance airstrike's going to come and it's going to. So this is a good example of Salat al-Khawf. We're going to combine the prayers, and we're only going to do it we're only going to get together once instead of for all salawat, so that we don't get attacked. What other question was there? So yes. Not that I know of. As far as I know, it's just jahl and ignorance. An airplane is not like a car. A car, I could open the door and pray. Pray right where I am, in the park or in the parking lot or in some building or something like that. If I can't do that, there has to be a reason why I can't do that. What's the reason? Well, I'm afraid for my safety because I'm a sister and I'm alone, mathalan. Then we're going to tell you, okay, this is min al-nadir. وَالنَّادِرْ لَا حُكْمَ لَهُ. This is a very special, unique circumstance. You happen to be in an isolated area and you are alone. So we're going to tell you, النادر لا حكم له بل حكمه حكم الغالب. This special circumstance is not going to be given its own special ruling. We're going to tell you, don't make it up later. No, it's a special circumstance. You make it up later because you're going to follow the general rule that you need to pray standing up, you need to face the qibla, you need to be able to prostrate, you need to be able to do ruku' properly, unless you're someone who is disabled or has some physical disability. That's the only time you'd be able to pray sitting down. So it's different than the flight, because the flight is something that lasts for a long time, it's extended, and you have no choice. What are you going to do? Open the door of the airplane and pray outside? There's no choice. Where are you going to go? And it's a domestic flight. It's very, very tight. There's no place. So that's why I told him there's two opinions. One opinion says, this is still nadir. This is still a rare circumstance. فَلَا حُكْمَ لَهُ بَلْ حُكْمُهُ حُكْمُ الْغَالِبِ. We're going to tell you, pray for the sanctity of the time and make it up later on. But some will say, no, I have done the furthest extent of my ability, and this is a darura. I've tried. This is the extent of my ability. So why would I need to make it up again? But that's for the airplane, not for the car. The car is a different situation because it's, again, there's no choice in the airplane. Yeah. In the car, there is a choice, but I can't take it because I'm afraid in this special situation. Had I been with sisters, I wouldn't have been afraid. Had I been in the middle of Patterson, I wouldn't have been afraid. Mathalan, right? So there you go. That's how you answer that. Any other questions? Any other questions, guys? Yeah, you have a question? Go ahead. Because there's no excuse. We have certain situations to combine. Travel, rain or snow, illness, right? We don't have any other circumstance. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to make it up later on. It's not an illness, it's a surgery. It's different. Okay. For you, it's considered illness. But say, for example, we have other questions that come like this. Like people who work as surgeons, mathalan. I work as a surgeon, and I'm in the operating room, and I can't just say, all right, guys, here, grab this thing that's holding his heart. I need to go pray. I can't do that, right? Leave the guy's heart hanging like that. So someone who's a surgeon might find themselves in this type of situation where they would need to do qada. And we'll tell them, don't combine, just do qada, because it's a special circumstance. Or someone who's coming, and I have this exam, it's a 5-hour-long exam, and I have no choice. They're not going to let me leave the exam room to pray salah because I'm in the middle of exam. They'll think I'm going to cheat or something like that. They're not going to allow me to do that. So if there's truly no way around it, some people come to me, okay, well, the exam's at 12 p.m. Can I pray dhuhr before its time? I'm going to tell them, no, you can't. Just pray it qada afterwards, and inshallah you're ma'dhur because you have no choice. Yeah. Which minority opinion? I don't know if that's the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah. I mentioned the opinion of Imam Ibn Taymiyyah for something else. But the opinion that says that you could combine between prayers as long as you don't, for a reason, as long as you don't take it as a habit, that opinion, it's a minor. If you want to follow that, it's an opinion out there. I'm not going to tell you it's haram to follow it, but it's just according to most scholars, your prayer wouldn't be valid. Yeah, yeah. So the better thing for you to do, just do it as qada, and you are excused. No problem. Don't worry about it. Pray Asr during the time of Maghrib, inshallah. Or if your udhr lasts till Isha, pray Asr in the time of Isha, inshallah. You're excused. Okay? Any other questions before we close for today? All right, it's 9:15. This is normally when we end. So, alhamdulillah, good time. We're done with Salat al-Musafir. And again, I know sometimes, guys, I could be very, very blunt or very sharp in the responses. This is Majlis Fiqh. Majlis Fiqh is different than a gathering of spirituality. Gathering of spirituality will be soft and reflective. Fiqh, we need to be with the evidences, the opinions, khalas. So don't take offense. If I was sharp with you, any of you guys, don't take offense to it. Inshallah, next time we're going to continue with Salat al-Jumu'ah, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Next week is the last class before our break. We're going to have class next week, inshallah. Yes.